It is a Thursday edition of the Friday Football Feast. I am Paul Charchian in for Paul Allen today. Thank you for joining us. It's, in a way, it's the B crew joining you today because Eric Nordquist also out, and we've got Double B, Brett Blakemore, with us. Hi, Brett.
Hi, Charch. How are you?
I'm doing great. The weather in Utah is beautiful, and it is Zion bursting at the seams with tourists right now, but it is life is good. We're not quite to the sports abyss, right? We still have final series for NBA and NHL, so we're not officially in the abyss yet. But PA's taking some time off. You can be the B team. I'm C team. The Charch team would be the C team. But great to be with you. Thank you for joining us. We've got tons of stuff to get to today. A little preview of coming attractions. I want to talk a lot about the Vegas Golden Knights and what just went down with Colorado with Michael Russo coming up at 10 o'clock. Excited for that. Because of my new location in southern Utah, I moved right into Vegas Knights territory. Now, Utah has gained as a state their own team, the Mammoth, who are pretty good. But down here where I am in southern Utah, we're 2 hours away from Las Vegas and 4 hours away from Salt Lake City. And that's 4 hours away, by the way, going 80 miles an hour on I-15, which is awesome. Every interstate should be 80 miles an hour. It's glorious when everybody is coasting at 80. It's fantastic. You feel like you're cheating. You go like 83. And you're like, oh, that's dangerous. But really, you're just going with traffic. It's fantastic. But in southern Utah, because the Vegas Knights were so good so fast, and the area was so starved for a professional team, when they hit first, it just created this enormous blast radius of fan support around Las Vegas that got the greater St. George area where I live. And so most of the people around me, if they are sports fans, if they are hockey fans, they're Vegas Knights fans. And been following this series very closely. An astounding outcome with the sweep of Colorado. What does it mean for Vegas? What does it mean for Colorado? What does it mean for the Wild? And the Wild obviously got dispatched in 6 to Colorado, and then Colorado almost really couldn't have looked worse. So what does it say about the Wild? So a lot of great stuff coming up with Michael Russo at 10 o'clock. But also, it is the 28th anniversary of the murder of Phil Hartman. Talk a little bit about remembering his life. I was on the air 28 years ago today when it went down. And every now and again, if you do enough radio shifts, bad things happen while you're on the air. Great things happen too, of course. But you remember the bad ones, and having to talk about Phil Hartman's murder in real time as it was going down was one of the things that I'll definitely remember in my time on the air 28 years ago today, in the debate as the best Saturday Night Live cast member of all time. And we'll talk that through in a little later in the show. Ferrari's got a new car that nobody wants and is being widely ridiculed. We'll talk a little bit about Ferrari and how in the world they got to the point that they're making a EV that everybody is ridiculing. There's a new Olympic sport coming to Los Angeles in 2028, and it might be a surprise. It's certainly a surprise to me what's coming. They've all gotten more esoteric over time. This is probably the most of the group. A lot of Viking stuff for you. You know, whether or not there's a legitimate quarterback controversy, we're already seeing that. Those storylines starting to emerge out of OTAs. And the single biggest Achilles heel that I think the team has got, we'll identify that a little later in the show. Might get to a variety of other things. We're going to start building a lunar colony. That's pretty cool. But Brett, since you're here, I want to dabble in some video game talk for a couple of minutes since I've got a willing partner. We don't have video games weekly anymore, tragically, but that doesn't mean that there's not super compelling video game news. First, Have you followed all the social media conversation around Bowie Knife 99?
So to be honest, I'm not familiar with the bit, but I just saw like earlier this morning as I was doom scrolling before I got out of bed that it's just taken over the world, and I don't have any idea what it is. So please fill me in.
Yes. So here's what's going on with Bowie Knife 99. There's a new and very popular racing game called Forza Horizon 6.
I've heard of that.
The Forza series has been around for a very long time. The Forza series is a super, super tactical street racer. Very difficult for hardcores only, really. And eventually Forza went, you know what? Maybe we should broaden the appeal of our racing games, and we should have these be way more approachable, way more easy, and off street for many of the races. So they created the Horizon version of Forza, which is now up to Horizon 6. The Horizon series has basically always dominated the standard Forza series in terms of sales and gameplay. And this current Forza, which came out less than a week ago, is set in Japan. So you start right in the heart of Tokyo, all of the neon lights everywhere. You day race, you night race, and then you go up out into the mountains. You go and you're flying through Kyoto and all the beautiful scenery of Japan. Off-road racing, sand racing, all kinds of just however you want to play, super low key. It's going to be the best-selling Forza racer. There's a chance it's going to be the best-selling racing game of all time. Where Bowie Knife 99 comes in, whenever you're solo racing, you're not playing with a friend, you're not playing against other real players, you're playing against AI racers. One of them is Bowie Knife 99. And it looks like there's about 20 or so AI racers. And so you'll see, you'll be in a race of 10. So you'll see the same guys come up again, these same AI guys, one of them Bowie Knife 99. Now, it turns out that these AI racers are designed to learn from your play. And Bowie Knife 99, very specifically over the course of races, starts racing like you do. Meaning with no regard for personal property, no regard for anybody else's cars, slamming into guardrails, doing whatever it takes to win. Just like you play, Bowie Knife 99 plays. So he's a total jackass. And now people are capturing Bowie Knife 99 doing all kinds of crazy stuff to screw up your game. And it's you. It's basically you racing yourself. But people aren't used to the AI actually playing every bit as aggressively as they play themselves.
Yeah, actually having a brain cell. Yeah, and you just don't walk right around them like you would in any other game. It sounds a lot, right. It sounds a lot like remember, this is gonna show my a little bit of my age, but for anyone my age that played Wii Sports growing up, there was always that character, Matt, that just kicked your ass no matter what sport it was. If it was tennis, there's just this one guy, and it was just a meme that, you don't want to see Matt from around this corner, this little avatar. He just kick anyone's ass that possibly wanted to play in this resort of any sport. So very similar to that, It sounds like.
Wii Sports, back in the days when you got a pack-in game when you bought your console.
Oh.
And now, you just get the console. You don't get the pack-in game anymore. Wii Sports was great. There weren't, for as popular as the Wii was, and sold millions and millions and millions of consoles. I'm guessing most of our listeners who are over 30 years old had a Wii, or knew somebody with a Wii. There weren't that many great games for the Wii. It was not a great system. And even the wands that the bit was you had the wands and you could, it would wirelessly see your wands. You could move the wands around and stuff. Even that, there was only, the implementation for that was only so good. And the Wii, at the end of the day, if you go great Wii games, I think Mario Galaxy would be in that conversation, but I don't remember great games coming out of that console as popular as it was.
Yeah, to me, one of the best ones was that Wii Sports, unless you're talking Wario Smooth Moves. Other than that, but have you ever seen?
That was a good game too.
It was fantastic. Have you ever? Even the controls now like I actually played one like the other month. Basically my gal knows a family and they had a Wii and their kids love it. And I tried playing it again and I'm like, this thing cannot pick up my movement whatsoever. No matter where I stood, how far away I was, how it was terrible. Maybe it's just because it's an old system, but golly, I forgot how just frustrating it is when all you wanted to do is just pick up that you're balancing the remote on your hand and it has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, the Wii was overrated. Overrated for sure. Now and the other part of the consoles that's crazy now are the price increases that have gone down.
Mm-hmm.
The Steam Deck, which is my favorite console of all time, I use it basically every day. My most used console of all time, Steam Deck. They just raised the price. If you want the OLED Steam Deck, $950. The PS5 Pro. So this is the slightly enhanced, slightly more powerful version of the PS5 is now $900. These are 5-year-old consoles whose prices have not quite doubled, almost doubled. It's amazing how much it's hardware shortages. And I understand AI has driven all of these memory shortages. Absolutely absurd. The base Xbox Series X, $650. PlayStation just upped the price of PlayStation Plus. It is becoming an expensive hobby, and you have to be really careful about throwing down $70 for a new game. I think more than ever. Well, really wish we had Video Games Weekly to give us guidance on what to buy and what's worth the money and what isn't. But before I think you have to be more thoughtful now. It's hard. I think it's never been more expensive to get into gaming until you go, way, way back. When you're buying basically an IBM PC to play games in the old days.
I still think it's more viable to play console than it is PC because like I have a PC and now it's 5 years old and I can't run damn near any game on it from this decade. Because, well, we've moved on and we're going to this new graphics card. So you got to keep pulling in another $300, $400, $500 just to keep it up, where I've had my Xbox Series X for like 6 years and it still works. And all the games that come out on it work flawlessly. So I'll take that.
Yeah, well, with your PC, you can upgrade the part. You can do it on a part-by-part basis. That's how I do it. I find some deal on memory or whatever, and then I go upgrade that. So you can still do it. Which is great. When we come back, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get into Phil Hartman, the amazing run that he had during an all too short career, how he got started, where he sits in the debate as the best Saturday Night Live cast member of all time, because he, in my mind, absolutely among the best. And I think it's going to be subjective. It's going to be personal preference, but we'll reminisce a little bit about Phil Hartman, who tragically died 28 years ago today. And some of the great moments that we had with him, and plenty more to get to over the course of the show. Paul Charchian in for Paul Allen.
It's Charch on the Fan.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? We're the people you can count on for insurance and financial needs now.
Minnesota Sports is also on YouTube. You can check out the KFAN YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials and password games, behind-the-scene content, and more. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today, or go to KFAN.com/watch.
Welcome back to the show. Paul Charchian in for PA. Brett Blakemore, assuming the Eric Nordquist role today. Thank you for joining.
I won't be rapping.
Mention this at the end.
I just want to make that clear.
No rapping involved.
No,
that's too bad.
Yeah.
Nordo is uncanny with it. He's so good. So good. And just the fact that he remembers throughout the show to take all the notes, put it all together mid-show. It's very good. I wish I couldn't do it. Mentioned at the outset, today's the 28th anniversary of Phil Hartman's murder, suicide, killed by his wife. There's a local connection that I don't quite remember. And, when I was on the air when Phil was killed and the news was coming down, somebody called in. You can tell it's 28 years ago. This when we were still taking a lot of calls. Somebody called in and claimed to be a member of his family, and I believed it. And for some reason, I think we figured out some way that it was legit. Somebody, I want to say, somebody in like Red Wing. I don't quite remember what the connection was. But there was a family member who was listening at that time as well, and added a lot of flavor to Phil Hartman's life. Now, Phil Hartman, for people young enough, Brett, he died 28 years ago. You're about 28 years old.
29, unfortunately.
What do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I mean, what do you know of Phil Hartman? I mean, I see him as an absolutely iconic figure in Saturday Night Live's history. But what do you remember or know about Phil Hartman as somebody who really was not alive for his run?
I will say most of my learning about Phil Hartman came this morning. Not
right now
with a lot of his work. Yeah, but from the stuff that we're going to play, seems like a very talented guy.
Very talented guy. You may remember Phil Hartman from such voices as Troy McClure on The Simpsons. His early days, he was originally from Ontario. At a young age, he went to L.A. and joined the improv group called the Groundlings. And the Groundlings ended up having a ton of notable people. Let me see if I find who else was in the Groundlings. But early on, he collaborated a lot with Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens. By the way, here's some famous Groundlings for you. People that came out of the Groundlings. Will Ferrell, Maya Rudolph, Pee Wee Herman, Kathy Griffin, Lisa Kudrow, Adam Carolla, Jimmy Fallon, Kristen Wiig. That's pretty good pedigree for the Groundlings. Unbelievable. He got early attention with his collaboration with Paul Rubens, again, who he knew from the Groundlings, to create Pee Wee Herman out of thin air. Phil Hartman co-wrote Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the big movie, with Paul Rubens and Pee Wee Herman. And he also had a recurring role on Pee Wee's Playhouse. Brett, Pee Wee's Playhouse 30 years ago was Pee Wee Herman's kids show. And it was weird and creative, super inventive, often funny, but a lot of times not. Just really creative. It was a really good show. He found his way onto Saturday Night Live and became arguably the best cast member in the history of Saturday Night Live, which is saying a lot. I think when you think of best Saturday Night Live cast members, for those of us that were old enough to remember the early days, you're thinking Bill Murray, you're thinking Eddie Murphy, you're thinking Will Ferrell, Dana Carvey, Mike Myers, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, all guys. I mean, all people that are in this. I think Phil Hartman was every bit as good in Saturday Night Live as any of those because he could do everything. He was great at everything he did. 8 seasons on Saturday Night Live. They nicknamed Phil Hartman the Glue because he could do everything and hold every sketch together. He played Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, Ed McMahon, Barbara Bush. He had some original reoccurring characters like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer, Anal Retentive Chef. I know these things don't mean a lot to everybody that's listening. If you remember that era of Saturday Night Live, you certainly do. The sketch that I will remember best for Phil Hartman on Saturday Night Live is this one called The Sinatra Group. It's a takeoff of a show that was on PBS called The McLaughlin Group, where the premise here is it's a round table with Phil Hartman playing Frank Sinatra and sending out questions to his panel of experts. And the people in this skit are fantastic as well. Jan Hooks is playing Sinead O'Connor. Mike Myers is playing Steve Lawrence. Victoria Jackson is playing Edie Gourmet. Chris Rock is playing Luther Campbell from True Live Crew. And Sting is playing Billy Idol. We won't play the whole sketch, but let's do one turn around the table of the Sinatra Group.
Issue number 3, the bald chick. What's with her head? Let's start with a chick. What gives, cue ball? I'm looking at you, I'm thinking 14 in the side pocket.
I can't believe you're talking about my hair with all the bloody starvation and the suffering in the world right now.
Come on, swing, baby, you're platinum. Billy Idol.
Yeah, I think she's really quite attractive, actually.
Check his papers. Luther Campbell.
You wash it, mate.
Easy, baby. And what's with that sneering crap? Don't do that to the people. They want to like you. That's what killed Dennis Day. Contempt for the audience. All right, what about the chick's head, Luther?
Well, be honest, man, I don't care about the head. I like the butt.
I hear you, baby, loud and clear. Forget the head. Put a bag over it and do your business. Well, am I right, Stephen Edie?
You bet, Frank.
You know it, Chairman.
You were a little slow that time.
All right, you get the idea. The way Phil Hartman could command an audience and take and just own any role, in this case, Frank Sinatra, just amazing. You've got, by the way, if you want to chime in, best Saturday Night Live performer of all time. And we're just talking about on Saturday Night Live, not where they went after Saturday Night Live, but during their time, during their run on the show, I think Phil Hartman is number one. You might think it's somebody else. You can text in your answer, 64686. If it's not Phil Hartman, tell me who's better and where Phil Hartman ranks. You can use the iHeartRadio app. You can leave a voice message for the show as well. Let's go here. So Hartman is on Saturday Night Live. He's a huge hit right away, and he parlays that into some other work, including Troy McClure of The Simpsons and this guy, Lionel Hutz.
Now, don't you worry, Mrs. Simpson. We've drawn Judge Snyder.
Is that bad?
Well, he's had it in for me ever since I kinda ran over his dog.
You did?
Well, replace the word kinda with the word repeatedly and the word dog with son. Now,
Yes, that's Phil Hartman right there. Lionel Hutz. So many reoccurring characters that unfortunately had to end with Phil Hartman on The Simpsons. And then the other role, and he had many, but the other role for Phil Hartman that always speak to me, and I think many of our listeners as well, was news radio. News radio, 90s sitcom, sadly with the laugh track, which fortunately, mostly we've gotten through the laugh track era. It's almost done. I know there's still shows that have it, and there's still people listening that like it. News radio was in an era where there was a laugh track. But for this show, if they relaunched news radio now, same script, same people, whatever, it would have no laugh track today. I think it was too smart of a show. But news radio focused on a news talk radio station in New York City. Phil Hartman was the long established presence on the station. He was the elder statesman. He was the Dan Barrero of the station on news radio, and over the top pompous and confident. And in this segment, and I hope most listeners have at some point had a chance to hear news radio. Brett, you don't know news radio, right? This is before your time as well.
The show, yes. This is before my time. I was not aware of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So news radio, it's Phil Hartman really at his best. And he was the glue that kept the entire show going. And they tried to labor on one more season after Phil was murdered. And they brought in John Lovitz to not take his character, but they replaced him with John Lovitz, who had a different character, but it just didn't work. And the whole thing just sort of had a pall over it after Phil's death, sadly. But Phil was just fantastic. And here's a little sketch with Phil Hartman on news radio playing Bill McNeil. And he is, I think this just, the way that he commands this room, just fantastic. Let's hear it.
About as a full-scale revolt. Dave's gone too far this time. Imagine an office without snacks.
Oh my God, you guys, I got something.
What is it?
It's a piece of gum I left in the fridge. I forgot about it.
A frozen piece of chewed up gum. How long has that been in there?
I would say like August 95.
People, we should be working. Enjoying the free snacks provided by our employer. Not foraging for frozen morsels like the members of some ice-bound Brazilian soccer team.
In England, they call soccer football.
Good point. This may come as a surprise to Dave, but slavery was abolished in this country. No offense, Catherine.
Why would I be offended by slavery being abolished?
I don't know. I just like to cover my bases. And it's not just the snacks.
You get the idea. The news radio cast, tremendous. Dave Foley, fantastic, as the news director. Stephen Root, the eccentric billionaire station owner. Maura Tierney, all these people gone on to just great success. Well, Joe Rogan, who just had a very minor role in the show, obviously has gone on to greatness of his own type. And then there's Andy Dick. Hasn't really worked out so well for Andy Dick. Andy Dick's dealers, I think it's worked out pretty well for, but not so much himself. So there you go. Phil Hartman, 28 years ago today. Brett.
Yes.
Do we have people that want to chime in on great Saturday Night Live, all-time Saturday Night Live cast members? I would be interested in hearing those.
We do.
We do not have access to the text channel.
We do. Yes. The Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line. 64686 is the number.
You want to hit that after we come back from break? Because I know we're a little overdue. Maybe we do that.
Yeah,
okay.
We can get your text in now and we'll read through the best ones.
Top of the hour, Michael Russo. We're going to catch up on the Western Conference side of the hockey playoffs. And now that we know that Vegas is headed to the Stanley Cup, we'll talk about that team a bit, and exactly what happened to Colorado, where they are now, and if that team is in a fair amount of trouble going forward, which is possible. So plenty to get to between now and noon. Paul Charchian in for Paul Allen.
KFAN 1003 on Instagram, TikTok, and X, and YouTube right now. Stay connected to the sports leader, The Fan.
Welcome back. Paul Charchian in for PA today. Brett Blakemore is in for Nordo. It's the 28th anniversary, if you will. I guess it's probably not the right word. Let's rephrase it. Phil Hartman murdered 28 years ago today by his wife, Bryn. I had mentioned I thought there was a Minnesota connection. I couldn't quite remember what it was. Some people nice enough on Twitter to remind me his wife was from Thief River Falls. And she had family connection throughout Minnesota, which most of us do if you're raised in Minnesota. And so when we talked about it live as it was happening 28 years ago, and I got the call in from whoever it was somebody connected to his wife. Yeah. I think that was it. I think, a very stirring case last segment for Phil Hartman is the best SNL cast member ever, based on what they did on SNL, not based on where they went from there, other things that they did, music careers, comedies, whatever it was. I think he was as strong as anybody to ever appear on the show. And I'm not just saying that because of the significance of the day. I would have given you that answer any other day of the year as well. Brett, what's the response that we've got from people either through the iHeartRadio app or have texted 64686, best SNL characters?
There's been a lot. I did want to read this text that we got before we got to those, because we have a ton of SNL text to get to. But we got this from 651 guy. This goes back to our first segment, Charchy. There is a devoted subsection of the population who die by the fact that Mario Kart Wii with the steering wheel accessory is the GOAT of the series. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, that was, with the steering wheel accessory. But you needed to have the steering wheel accessory, kind of. Otherwise, you're just twisting the Wii.
Yeah,
no, that's right.
No, thanks.
Yeah, not the same.
All right, we actually have 2 Futurama texts going along with the Phil Hartman, which is a great show. I haven't dipped into the new seasons I think it's on Hulu. But maybe I should. But the great Billy West modeled Zap Brannigan. This is from 715 guy. He modeled Zap Brannigan in Futurama after Phil Hartman, who was supposed to play that role. And another texter says that Philip J. Fry was named after Phil Hartman.
I didn't know any of those connections. Not surprised, because Hartman is doing The Simpsons, which is a Matt Groening show, show, and then also, then Futurama, also a Matt Groening show. So I can see that. And if you know the character of Zap Brannigan, you understand why it's totally Phil Hartman. The arrogance, the pomposity. Yes, it makes a ton of sense.
On the actual subject of best SNL cast members, 612 guy says, welcome back, Charch. Norm Macdonald was the best, the late Norm Macdonald. He was very good.
And he did the news segment, and his dry deadpan delivery was it was so good. I really think people underrated him in that role. You go back through all the people that have done the news bits, going all the way back to, I'm trying to think who the originals were that did it. Was it, I don't remember. Was it Chevy Chase originally? I'm not sure, but I feel like Norm Macdonald's as good as any of them.
Couple texts saying that Phil Hartman was the best. Loved when he played Clinton and went to a fast food place and started eating other people's food.
Food, yes.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got nominations for Eddie Murphy, number 1 without a doubt.
Yeah.
Chris Farley.
Murphy. So, hold on. Let's talk Murphy for just a second. So Murphy came in the early 80s when most of the originals were out, and the show had hit a low point. It had previously had all the power of Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and Gilda Radner and John Belushi, and then came into the 80s, and most of them had all moved on, and they needed somebody to step up and become the identity of Saturday Night Live. And Eddie Murphy started as a very sort of small role. And then it became pretty clear he was just stealing every skit he was in. And eventually he turned into just a titanic force. Recurring characters of Mr. Robinson from Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, Buckwheat, Gumby, and many others. He had a 5-year run on Saturday Night Live, and Murphy's got to be, he's certainly in the conversation for one of the best. I still feel Phil Hartman, over his 8 years there, was a better SNL contributor.
What do you think of 952 guy throwing in Chris Farley into the mix? A lot of people have said Farley, at least mentioned in their kind of Mount Rushmore of SNL.
I think Farley had a lot of great moments as well. The Chris Farley Show. He, loved the physical comedy that he brought. I think everybody connected to just his passion and his obvious heart that he brought to everything that he did. Farley's, I think in the conversation, in my mind, because he died young, obviously. I think of Farley as only having like a 2 or 3 year run, but he had a 5-year run on SNL. He was there longer than I remember now. And for you, Brett, at your age, again, Farley probably died before you were born.
I think he did.
What do you think of?
I'm much more familiar with Farley than I was Phil. Phil, I'd be more familiar with like some of the Simpsons stuff he did, and some of the voice work he did. Where Farley, I mean, everyone, if you say fat guy in a little coat, you're probably going to know what it is, if you're on the internet or familiar with any pop culture. So yeah, I'm much more familiar with Farley.
Do you know Farley more for his movies than you do for his Saturday Night Live performances?
Well, I'll answer that question.
Like Tommy Boy, right?
Yeah, I'll answer that question with another question. Was the Chippendales bit on SNL or something else? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. And
Working for the Weekend.
I think it was SNL, but it might have been a different. I think it was SNL. Had to be, right?
You would think.
Yeah, I think so. And we'll get people that'll text in 64686, and they'll tell us for
Regardless.
Sure. Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Billy Madison, briefly. Chris Farley he did a lot of work.
He was also the security guard in Wayne's World. Who could forget?
Yes, legendary.
The most important role in that movie.
Yeah. Could be. I guess you make that case.
I mean, he tells the satellite.
Yes, but that's okay.
Redirects. He's driving to Chicago, and if you triangulate the satellite to his limo, he was the most important character in that whole movie. Anyway.
He was an important supporting character in that movie. Chris Farley was.
Wasn't familiar with Phil Hartman, but I could break down the plot of Wayne's World. Here's a text from I don't know. I've got no answer. 612 guy. I mean, obviously we're getting the other ones. We're getting Sandler. We're getting Farrell. But 612 guy says something that I was not thinking of. I think Phil Hartman's a strong number 2, but Kenan Thompson has to be number 1 just for longevity. Your thoughts?
Well, there's that, right? It's been 12 years, 15. I mean, normally everybody rotates out, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild that he's been on for that long. But, the thing is, he just hasn't built the iconic bits that other people have. So I don't think Kenan Thompson is in the conversation that way. He's like the Art Monk of SNL players. Like, he had a long career, but not like a standout guy that you necessarily remember. He is 2003 to present. So he's at 24. Let's go 24 years for Kenan Thompson. That's amazing. I knew it was a lot. I didn't realize it was quite that long. That is a ton of time for him.
Basically 95% of my life. He's been on the show. So
that's a good point. Which is hard to believe, right? Yeah.
We've got Rich in Fargo. I don't agree with this. He just gives his Mount Rushmore in no particular order. Hartman, Murphy, Farrell, Michaels. Does he mean Lorne? Because I don't think you can put him.
Lorne Michaels. Yeah. I mean, Lorne Michaels is in his own category. I don't think you can
include him.
No.
Yeah. And then finally, we'll end with this because you went to this effort, Texter, so I'll reward you. Here's 612 guys, top 10. He lists all 10. Here we go. 10.
Wow. Okay.
10, Rudolph. I don't know who that is. You want to help me out with that? Maya Rudolph?
Maya Rudolph.
There's just the last name, so it doesn't give me, if I'm not instantly thinking of it, then Murphy.
Well, no, it's okay. The show's a lot older than you are. That's all right.
That's right. And I'm not an SNL watcher present day. Murphy, that would probably be Eddie at number 9.
Eddie.
Armisen, I'm going to go with. That's the only other one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, Fred. Yeah, he's funny.
Well, someone's texting right now that I'm not familiar with Fred. Myers at 7, Farley at 6, Bill Hader at 5. I like that.
Yeah, I wondered if we'd get some Bill Hader love because he was awfully good, and his post SNL career has been fantastic too.
Kristen Wiig at 4, Adam Sandler at 3.
There you go.
Phil Hartman at 2, Will Ferrell at 1. Your thoughts?
It's a defensible list right there. Yeah. That's a defensible list. Will Ferrell on the show for 8-ish years, and he played Bush. You got more cowbell. You got the Jeopardy bits. Will Ferrell threw himself into every character, which was fantastic, and was willing. Everybody on SNL, I think, is willing to take a joke at their own expense, but maybe no more than Will Ferrell, which is fantastic. And speaking of jokes at your own defense, by the way, the update pairing of Colin and Michael right now are outstanding. And as the thing I look forward to the most in SNL right now is when they do when they gift each other jokes. That bit, which they do once a year, is always just freaking slays me. So funny. Anyway,
few more. I'll just rapid fire some as we end this SNL bit. 612 guy says the Chippendales was SNL because Mike Myers was a judge, so that makes sense.
There you go.
Yep. So best SNL character of all time was Will Ferrell saying "Need more cowbell." That's 651 guy.
Yep.
I tend to
defensible position.
Dana Carvey, Belushi, more Eddie Murphy love. So that's kind of and Farley was the greatest as a 507 guy. So a general consensus of the names that you would expect in slightly different order. But
nobody mentioning Tina Fey, and that's not cool. Tina Fey was fantastic at a lot of things and had a nice long run, and 30 Rock's one of the all-time great shows, but just even sticking just to Saturday Night Live, I think Tina Fey should have got some mentions in here.
And Dana Carvey.
When we come back. Yes.
Yeah.
And Dana Carvey, right. I mean, all the impressions that he did, and then, he made Church Lady. He did, Wayne and Garth started on SNL, did Bush. He did a lot of stuff as well. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk hockey with Michael Russo. We'll catch up on the Vegas Knights sweep, the unbelievable, improbable sweep of Colorado. Nobody saw it coming. Even midway through Game 3, I think most of us were pretty convinced that Colorado was going to find a way to win the series, and to have it turn out the way it did was remarkable. We'll catch up, talk about that series, talk Colorado, a little bit of Wild with Michael Russo from The Athletic when we come back.
You're listening to Charch on the Fan
from the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center.
This report